Shalawama, Shalawama. I'm Dr. Dryasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome to Astrotheology. This is the 61st live stream. This is our 61st live stream. So welcome to everyone who's been with me from the beginning of doing this. And welcome to those of you who haven't. And also welcome to those who this is your first time. So what we're going to do in this live stream presentation, we're going to go through the book titled The Devil's Pulpit, which was published in 1857. That's right, 1857. It is a compilation of lectures that were given, lectures or sermons that were given by Reverend Robert Taylor. That's right. This is The Devil's Pulpit. And don't let the title of the book fool you. There's no devils and demons in this book. That's not what it's about. It's not about religion or religious doctrine. This book is about science. What science? Science is having to do with language, with languages, okay? We're dealing with philology, etymology, church father writings, and mythology, also architecture and art, okay? And all of this is done to determine, or to uncover rather, the literal meaning of words in the Gospels and also the New Testament. And he's referred to some scriptures in the Old Testament too, to determine or to be able to show that sun worship and star worship is the story that's really being told. All right, that's the term astrotheology. All right, so I am not here to change your religion. I'm only here to read and to do it in a way that hopefully is entertaining and keeps your attention, to explain the sentences, because remember this, these lectures were given almost 200 years ago, right? And then also to give commentary where appropriate, but I will not give you my personal opinion in terms of what I'm believing, unless of course it has to do with something scholarly. All right, so I won't give you a personal opinion, I'll give you my scholarly opinion. And I don't do that often, but anyway, that's the way we do things here. All right, so again, I'm Dr. Dryasapa from Zion Law School, and welcome to Astrotheology, live stream number 61. We are going to begin on page 278. So let me pull that up real quick. Page 278. If you don't have a copy of our book, The Devil's Pulpit, you can go to the description area of this video and you will find a link there. You'll find a link there so you can download a copy for yourself, okay? All right. Give me 1 second here. Let me check the live stream. Give me 1 second while the file opens up, and then we're gonna get started right away. Be sure to call your friends and tell them that we're doing this live stream now. Call them, or send them a text message and say, hey, the Astrotheology live stream is on. Okay, let them know so that they can get this information. Right now, we have at least 100+ hours of content on astrotheology. Now, for those of you who don't know, astrotheology, let me rephrase that. The book, The Devil's Pulpit, this is the foremost authority on astrotheology, right? This is the foremost authority on astrotheology. And I'm giving it to you in a way that's easy to understand, and And it's not costing you anything, okay? It's not costing you not one red penny to be here and to do this. So please take advantage of it, okay? And tell other people to take advantage. So what's the big deal, right? What's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. The big deal is I am giving you access to, for free, of hundreds of thousands of dollars that I have invested in my education. I'm giving you access to that for free. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm giving you access to decades, that's plural, decades of formal education. Decades. I'm giving you access to that for free, okay? Now, the other part of that, or why I'm mentioning this, is because this book is a very difficult read. When you download it and you start reading it, you're going to see that it's hard to comprehend. It's very hard to comprehend because of the author's writing. Well, no, not because of his writing style. Remember, these lectures were given as a sermon, so it wasn't actually written in a book form first, okay? The sermons were written and then published in a book. So now we're reading what someone said, not what they wrote. Everybody follow me? So that makes it a difficult read. And then also it's dealing with topics that are not commonly, that most people today don't know. So what I'm trying to say in short is that you are getting access to my education, to the blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice, and suffering that I did over decades to acquire the reading comprehension skills that I have, the broad base of knowledge that I have across different areas of study, and then of course the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I invested in me to acquire this education. All of that is helping me to help you by reading this and explaining it to you. And I'm doing it in such a way where I'm not trying to change your religion, all right? You don't have to join anything, okay, to be here. So that's the reason why I think you should be here, all right? Anyway, stick around, let's get to it. Let me make sure our live stream is okay. Then we can get started. All right, let me stop the share. Okay, so what you were looking at on that screen is the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. Everybody should go subscribe to that course. That is our ancient language. It is not biblical Hebrew. So reclaim your heritage, return to the Most High. You have to learn Ibaryath. All right, so with that said, let's get into our presentation. We're on page 276, scholars. 276. Please like and share the video. Make sure you call someone, tell them that we're doing the Astrotheology live stream right now. All right, so by the way, if you're wondering what is astrotheology, astrotheology is of course the cosmos, or the heavenly, or the, let's say the starry sky. All right, the starry sky. All right, that's the cosmos. And we can also say what? Astronomy, and then the Bible. The Bible, specifically the Gospels and Christianity. So what is it? What is the author telling us by the use of astrotheology? The author is telling us that the Gospels are truly telling the story of how the sun travels through the sky and the various constellations, and how those things relate to things that are upon the earth that are important and life-sustaining, or things that can take away life. So hence astrotheology. All right. So anyway, let's get into it. Page 278, we will begin with the highlighted sentence. Give me 1 second. So we will begin here. All right. So let's go. Here we are. Also, remember, like, share, subscribe if you haven't had a chance to. Hence, with the most accurate analogy, the scriptures never speak of, no, we're not on page 278, y'all. That's the wrong page. We're on page 280. Yeah, we're on page 280. We are on page 280. So let me skip over. I'm sorry about that. All right, page, we're on page 280. Page 280. All right, there we are. Yeah, this is page 280. All right, so we're on page 280, second paragraph. If I remember correctly, yes. Yes, page 280. Y'all let me know in the chat if we have a problem with the live stream, okay? All right, so here we go. The S-U-N Son that seemed to give his life into the power of those infernal scorpions. Remember the scorpions? That's the zodiac sign for October. Having stings in their tails, to whom it was given to hurt the earth for 5 months. Now, scorpions of October, that's the zodiac sign Scorpio. So we'll count October, November, December, January, February, March. What happens in March? March 21st is a vernal equinox, which is the spring equinox. Okay, so counting from October, 5 months, October is going into winter, so we suffer for 5 months, right? The sun is not hot, it's cold. But in spring, in March, 5 months later, the sun is now heating up. So let's continue to read. The S-U-N Son that seemed, notice, that seemed to give up his life into the power of those infernal scorpions. That's talking about the earth is no longer hot, but it's getting cold, giving up its life. Having stings in their tail, to whom it was given to hurt the earth 5 months, October to March, 5 months, will rise again in the constellation of the Ram. Will rise again in the constellation of the Ram. That's March 21st, vernal equinox, with healing in his being. And he who was our Savior in autumn, Savior in autumn, becomes our Redeemer in spring. So the Savior in autumn, again, remember scholars, is the deity of the Gospels. His name is spelled J-E-S-U-S. The Savior in autumn becomes our Redeemer in spring. Redeemer from what? From cold winter and death, the bottomless pit, hell, right? We read about that in previous chapters. Now, springtime, life begins to come back. Plants are growing, rain is coming, etc. Hence, says the apostle, speaking of the S-U-N, Son, in the scales of September, the scales of September is the zodiac sign Libra. Quote, it is capital G-O-D that justifieth, end quote. Who is he that condemneth? That's a question, quote. It is Christ that died, end quote. Christ that died, end quote. But that was a mistake. It was not Christ that died. The apostle immediately corrects the error by saying, quote, nay, rather that is risen. That is risen, okay? It is, so let's go back to this quote so we can clarify this, make it simple. Everybody see the quote? It is Christ that died, that's not correct according to the author. It is Christ that risen. It is Christ that risen. Do everybody see that? So this is the apostle making the correction here. Nay, rather, that is risen. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Because the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S is the autumn. That's the autumn equinox. The deity of the autumn equinox is J-E-S-U-S, not J-C, the Christ figure. No, it is just simply the deity's name, no title. The name is spelled J-E-S-U-S. It is the deities who, because the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S is the autumn equinox deity, and Christ, the vernal equinox sun. So what are we saying? You do recall, scholars, that when every zodiac that the sun enters, the sun changes, right? Its character and attribute changes to match or reflect the zodiac that the sun is in at that moment. So in the autumn equinox, the sun now is the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S. In the vernal or spring equinox, the sun is now the Christ. The sun is the Christ in the vernal equinox. The sun is the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S in the autumn equinox. Keep that in mind. All right, because let's go back and read it again. Because the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S is the autumn, and Christ is the vernal sun. Okay, same sun, different name. Different name, in other words, different attribute. It is the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, therefore, that dies. It is the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, therefore, that dies, that's dies in the autumn, right? Going into winter. And Christ that rises. Christ rises in the vernal equinox in the spring. So what feast days are the Jewish and the Christian and the Hebrew Israelites celebrated in the spring? Make your correlation. And the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, dying to redeem the chosen sheep, is but another version of the story of Jason, sailing to fetch back the golden fleece. So now here we're seeing mythology paired up with this gospel equivalent. Paired up with its gospel equivalent. So again, it is a deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S that dies, and Christ that rises. And it is the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S, dying to redeem the chosen sheep. In other words, when the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S dies and rises again. For what purpose? To redeem the chosen sheep. This story is just a version or another version of the mythological story of Jason sailing to fetch back the golden fleece. Why golden fleece? This has to do with sheep, right? Okay, let's continue to the next paragraph. Let us continue to the next paragraph. Give me one moment, y'all. I want to check to see if we have any comments. Give me 1 second. All right, like and share the video, scholars. Also, make sure you contact your friends and family. Let them know that we are live during Astrotheology. All right, so do that for me. All right, now let's continue with the presentation. We're going to start with the highlight. All calculations of time being made from the commencement of the spring quarter, When the sun, sun, appearing in the sheep, that would be March, the ram, the sheep, is so beautifully called the shepherd of Israel. Again, all calculations of time. All means the whole. It means every part, everything. All calculations of time being made from the commencement of the spring quarter. What is this telling us? This is telling us that time, although not to, the beginning of the year begins in January in most countries now. But at this time in the 1800s and further back, time began, or the first of the year began in the spring. It began in the spring. This is what the author is telling us. When the sun, appearing in the sheep, that's the sheep constellation, right? The ram in the spring, is so beautifully called the shepherd of Israel. And so sublimely addressed in the 81st Psalm, quote, "Hear, O thou shepherd of Israel, thou that leadeth Joseph like a sheep, show thyself." Where you see the idea of leading, get that, y'all, important. Where you see the idea of leading is expressed in terms as it is involved in the Greek word for sheep. Now we see these two Greek words, right? You'll notice that that first Greek word is different from the second. This first Greek word is different from the second, all right? So note that. Now I don't read Greek, so I don't know, I can't comment on this, okay? But let's continue. Where you see the idea of leading is expressed in terms as it is involved in the Greek word for sheep. Okay, so we're going to look at the meaning of sheep in Greek. All right, which means to go before, right? Leading, to go before, or to go first. Leading, to go before, to go first, thus demonstrating the sheep of Christ never to have meant any other than the sheep of the zodiac. The sheep of Christ literally means the sheep of the zodiac. So what does that mean? The author tells us, which is the first or leading constellation. So the sheep of the zodiac is the first constellation of the zodiac, which is the ram, or the sheep, right? Ram, sheep, that is the first constellation. That is the beginning of time, begins in the spring. That is what the author is telling us. Let's move to the next paragraph. All calculations being made by means of counting off of little stones. Note this again, all calculations being made by counting off of little stones. All right, in other words, they're using little stones to count, to help the memory, which were calculi. So these little stones are called calculi, and they would use the stones to help you remember. From whence our word calculate, so calculate is derived from calculi. To count or reckon up is derived, which particular stone was to represent the unity or single idea required to be represented. And so, by necessary association of idea, got the name of the thing so represented and shared in the respect attached to that idea. All right, so we're talking about a stone. Stones were used to count. And remember the etymological connection. I don't think we have to repeat it. I think it was clear. Let's go to the next paragraph. All right, oops. So here's our next paragraph. Let's scroll down. All right, so let's see what the author, how the author develops this. All right? All right. Next paragraph reads, it required then 12 stones to represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay, so stones were used for counting, therefore you'd have 12 stones to represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay, let's continue. And as the first of these stones was the constellation of the ram or sheep, the stone that represented this could, of course, be none other than a precious stone, the chief cornerstone. So we all know that the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S is the chief cornerstone. Is the chief cornerstone. Okay, J-E-S-U-S is the chief cornerstone. That is counting from the first zodiac sign, the sheep or the ram. All right, that should be clear. Let's continue. Let's continue. Next paragraph. And the S-U-N, sun, always being associated with the sign which he was in. This is a key. This is very key right here. I'll read it again. And the S-U-N, sun, always being associated with the sign which the sun is in. The S-U-N, sun, and sheep was called the shepherd of the sheep. Now, in springtime, when the sun is in the vernal equinox, the sheep, which is also called the ram, the sun is called the shepherd of the sheep. Clear? Clear, okay. And so they represented the sun as a devilish big stone. Devilish is just a way of saying a very large stone. All right, let's read it again. And so they represented the sun, him is the sun, a pronoun for the sun. And so they represented him or the sun as a devilish or really big stone. And thus get you the solution of that conundrum of the dying Jacob, which I am sure none of your clergies could have solved for you in the 49th of Genesis quote, from hence is the stone, the shepherd of Israel. Now, again, recalling from paragraphs that we just read, stone has to do with counting. Stone has to do with counting, correct? And sheep has to do with leading or going first, right? Go before, to go first, recall? All right, so let's continue. Thus, oh, sorry about that, y'all. Let me show the screen. Make sure y'all contact somebody, call, text them, tell them that we are doing our live stream presentation right now and tell them to come. So here we are now, the highlight. Thus, the worship of stones, which is called litholatry, grew up with the heliolatry or S-U-N, sun worship. In other words, they're doing these two things at the same time, worshiping stones and the S-U-N, sun at the same time, according to the author. Because the barbarous savages, who were always the majority, found it easier to settle the matter at once by worshiping the stone themselves, rather than to bother their brains by inquiring what 'twas the stones represented. In other words, these people were intellectually lazy. They just worshiped the stone. They didn't take the time to find out what those stones represented. All right, that's all the author is saying with that paragraph. So now let's continue to the next paragraph. Let's continue to the next paragraph. But when the calculation came to be superseded by arithmetic, that is, when it was found, so the author is saying that people were using stones to count way before they developed arithmetic. All right, they were using stones. All right, but when calculation came to be superseded by arithmetic, that is, when it was found that little pictures or hieroglyphical marks, like a plus sign, a minus sign, division sign, would represent unities, all right, would represent unities quite as well as stones. Quite as well as stones, and would not be in danger of being put out of their places. And so to subject the unity which they represented to be forgotten, or the one mistaken for the other, these scramblements or marks were necessarily determined by some sort of resemblance to the thing to be represented. Okay, so it appears to me now that they're not only talking about plus and minus signs, but also the actual number 1, the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, right? Clear? All right, let's continue. Where are we? So note this is important too. The author is saying that the numbers resemble or look like the thing that they represent. So these numbers, we should suspect, are going to look like something having to do with astrotheology or some astrotheology concept, right? So let's continue reading, see if my suspicion is correct. Next paragraph. And then in the form of the 9 digits and the cipher or naught that follows them, and to which naught is ascribed the particular property of recalling the whole 9 to itself, we discover what that was the common basis both of religion and science. Well, this is interesting. I need to read this again. And then in the form of 9 digits, so the number of digits is 9, in the form of 9 digits, and the cipher or naught that follows them, I guess the cipher would be like the plus or the minus or the division sign, and to which naught is ascribed the peculiar property of recalling the whole 9 to itself. We discovered what that was the common basis both of religion and science, and their common origin in Egypt, the cradle of religion and science. In other words, religion and science began in Egypt, according to the author. There, the Nile overflowing their country through 3 months of the year, during which the world was believed annually to be drowned. Now, how can an intelligent people, here we have to use our brains. How can an intelligent people believe that the world was drowned just because the Nile overflowed its banks? That's not reasonable. That is not reasonable, not at all. Think about that. If you go maybe 10, 20 miles away or 100 miles away, or if you've ever been 100 miles away, when the Nile was flooding, you know that the whole world was not flooded. Okay, so you have to be, or we must be very careful when we listen to or read what these scientists write, because when you think about it, a lot of it doesn't make sense at all. All right, and in this case, this is nonsense, does not make sense at all. All right, let's continue. Okay, so let's continue. There, the Nile overflowing their country through 3 months of the year, during which the world was believed annually to be drowned. That's the whole world underwater. The remaining 9 months were deemed only worthy of special notation. Okay, so there's that number 9 again. All right, so we're dealing with 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. All right, next paragraph. Next paragraph. To these, the poet consecrated the 9 muses, with Apollo in the midst of them. Midst means middle. All right, midst means middle. While the mathematicians more soberly gave them the names of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and naught at the end of them. So nothing at the end of them. And they are honored in the 68th Psalm under the title of, quote, the damsels playing upon the timbrels, end quote, with capital G-O-D in the midst or middle of them. All right, next paragraph. Next paragraph. The number 1, the most simple of all forms, has all the properties in arithmetic with which imagination invests the deity of theology, and is represented by a straight stroke standing perpendicularly upon the line of the equator. So that's everybody knows what a number 1 looks like, right? Straight up and down. Next paragraph. Next paragraph. In all the languages of the earth, its name has never been the same as the name of the deity. Let me repeat that. I didn't say that right. Let me repeat that. In all languages of the earth, its name has ever been, in other words, its name has always been, its name has always been the same as the name of the supreme deity, the one, Ang, An, Un, and then we see, I guess, Greek and Latin, of all tongues, of all nations, in all ages, betrays but the very utterance of the primitive Egyptian word on, O-N, the being. So this is not the first time we saw O-N, the being, right? We saw that all throughout this book. Okay, so 1, the number 1 is associated with the deity On, O-N, the being, which is in all languages of the earth. The supreme being is 1. That's the author's point. So the number 1 correlates with the supreme being in all languages of the earth. Next paragraph. Nor has there been any name invented for the supreme being of which the first engraven character was not the letter I, as in, and we see here these names for the tetragrammaton, right? We see Janus, Jason, and then the deity whose name is spelled J-E-S-U-S. Now remember, there was no J in ancient times, okay? So they were using the letter I. All right, so now let's continue. Let's continue. The moral idea deriving itself from the physical one, godliness and uprightness are synonymous terms. An upright man acting with the greatest simplicity and straightforwardness was the moral reflection of the physical capital J-O-D. That's still true today, right? While the epithet, the upright, let's change the page. Oh, wow. While the epithet, the upright, par excellence, quote, the upright, capital L-O-R-D, end quote, quote, the righteous, capital G-O-D, end quote, quote, the capital L-O-R-D, most righteous, end quote, quote, JC, the Christ figure, the righteous, end quote, were the particular designations of the eternal one. The eternal one, that is, of the one, capital G-O-D, as distinguished from the two, capital G-O-D, the three, capital G-O-D, the four, capital G-O-D, and all the rest of the capital G-O-Ds. Scholars make note of this, correlate this with Genesis chapter 1. Correlate this with Genesis chapter 1. Correlate this with Genesis chapter 1. All right, if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you watch our YouTube video called Genesis chapter 1 and 2, and then something like that, but you'll see it. Make sure you watch this video, all right? Make sure you watch the video. You'll be surprised what you find in that video. So now, again, the author is telling us that there's more than one capital G-O-D, right? There's more than one capital G-O-D. So let me pause right here so y'all can think about that. As a matter of fact, can you write something in the chat if this is the first time you're ever seeing that there's more than one capital G-O-D? If you want the proof of this, if you want more proof, watch the video that I did on Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. That will give you the full story on this, all right? That'll give you the full story on this. All right. Give me 1 second, let me check the chat, the comment section. Give me 1 moment, please. All right. So make sure y'all let people know that we're doing the live stream right now. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. All right, so let's go back to the document. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to put it in the chat. All right, put it in the chat. Now, how do I know that there's more than one capital G-O-D? How do I know? Because I know Ancient Ibaryath. And I know how to deal with linguistic concepts, all right? And I want to teach you how to do this too. This is our streaming 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. It's an online streaming course. It will teach you how to use etymology, grammar and parts of speech. It'll teach you how to translate the Bible for yourself. It'll teach you how to pronounce Ibaryath words, and so much more. So you really should be good to yourself and subscribe. It's only $10 per month. All right, I'm gonna show this so that y'all can read it. You can pause when you come back and read it. All right. All right. So you can go down and you can look at part 1 of the course. Part 2 of the course, that's when we get into the pictographs. Everything pictograph, scholars, everything pictograph is discussed here. We do Ibaryath word studies, and these word studies are literally phenomenal. And of course, the grammar, very heavy on grammar. This is a very intensive and comprehensive course, all right? And it's only $10. You'll never get this anywhere else. All right, there we are. So let's go back to our document. So I've been teaching what the author just said here for years, all right? And I just told you how I know. So now you can find stuff out on your own too. So next paragraph. Well, let me just redo this again for emphasis. The upright, capital L-O-R-D, the righteous, capital G-O-D, the capital L-O-R-D, most righteous, J.C., the Christ figure, the righteous, where the particular designations of the eternal one, that is, of the one, capital G-O-D, as distinguished from the two, capital G-O-D, the three, capital G-O-D, the four, capital G-O-D, and all the rest of the capital G-O-Ds. Next paragraph. When a small stroke was added to the top of the figure and another one at the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. The top, the line of the Tropic of Cancer. The SUN sun, highest point of ascension, while the whole pillar was a natural almanac of the sun's latitude or north declination for every day from spring quarter to midsummer. So now let's take a look at this, y'all. I'm going to show the Tropic of Capricorn. Give me one moment, please. Let me pull it up. All right. So let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. So let's say celestial globe. Celestial globe. Tropic of, I think you said Cancer. All right, see if we can find an image of it. I think this might be a good one. Do we see it? Is it here? Okay, I don't see Tropic of Cancer. Give me 1 second. Let's go back. We need a celestial globe that'll show the Tropic of Cancer. Oh, well, here's something with the Tropic of Cancer. So everybody sees the Tropic of Cancer, where's, okay? And here's but this is the Earth equator, all right? So let's see if we can find it celestially. Oh, here we go. No, that's still not it. But anyway, this is good enough, y'all. So here you see the Tropic of Cancer. So this is the line right here. This is the Tropic of Cancer. Of course, this is the sun. And where's the celestial? Oh no, this is the Earth. So we don't see the celestial equator. So no, we can't use this one. Let's go back. Where's the celestial equator? I saw this at one time. I should have downloaded it. It's my mistake, y'all. All right, so here's our celestial equator. Everybody see the blue line? The red line is the ecliptic. The red line is the ecliptic. That's the sun's orbit. And this yellow line, this is the galactic equator. Okay, so we need the celestial equator. Maybe this is going to show it. This, for me, this is the fun part of doing this. Really fun part. All right, so no, we don't have it. That's not it. All right. I've seen it before in the celestial globe illustration. Let's just try a little bit more and see. It's really worth the effort to try to find it. It's really worth the effort to try to find it. All right, give me 1 second. So we're looking for a celestial globe that's showing the Tropic of Cancer. Let me see. Oh, is this it? No. No. So you see the celestial equator, but I don't see the Tropic of Cancer. Oh, well. Let me just search celestial globe and we'll go through a couple. All right. We have it. Let's see, y'all. Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe this is gonna be it. Let's see. No, why did that do that? Oh no, that's the Earth. That's the Earth, y'all. Shoot. If anybody has a link that shows the tropics, can you all send it to me? And I will show it. Let's see. All right. So let's see. No, we don't have the it's not showing the tropics. Oh well. Oh well. It's really worth seeing. When you see these things, it's much more easy to understand. Let's see. No, I don't see it on that. Let's see. All right. Oh well. I'm gonna just look a few more minutes, y'all. Let me read the paragraph again. This is on page 282. When a small stroke was added to the top of the figure and another stroke at the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. The line of the equator. Okay, the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. I lost my spot. Okay, so the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator, and the top stroke, the top line of the Tropic of Cancer, the sun's highest point of ascension, while the whole pillar was a natural almanac of the sun's latitude or north declination for every day from the spring quarter to midsummer. So let's try it a different way. Let's look for north declination. All right, let's try to find north declination. Celestial globe north declination. We'll look for images. All right, let's see, what do we have? Where do we want to start? Line of declination. So here's a north declination, right ascension and declination. So here's the celestial equator, line of declination. This is the line of declination. That's the north declination. Let me see, y'all. Well, let's try to find something else. What about this one? All right, celestial equator. So here's a celestial equator. Okay. So the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. Here's the celestial equator. Okay. And the top line, the Tropic of Cancer, the sun's highest point of ascension, while the whole pillar was a natural almanac. Okay. So where's the north declination? Anybody see it? I guess it would be up here in this one. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm not seeing an image that I can understand that's showing it. Maybe we might have to spend more time looking for this. Let's see. No, that's right, Ascension. I hope y'all don't get bored with me being anal, searching through all of this stuff. Hold on, one more. Oh, let's see. Let's see what we find here. Let's see what we find here. All right, so here's the celestial equator in this. All right. Here's zenith. All right, so here's zenith. This is the sun's highest point in the sky in summertime. Okay, so let me move. Hold on. Maybe we can figure this out. All right. See, celestial equator. Celestial equator. The north celestial pole equals projection of the Earth's most important node. So I'm not seeing it, y'all. Oh well, we'll have to come back to it. I guess we really need to see the Tropic of Cancer, but I think we're getting close because I saw this image before. I've seen that image before. So give me 1 second. One more second, y'all. Well, I don't see it. But I know there's an image because I've seen it before. I've seen the tropics on the celestial globe before. So give me 1 second. I'll search a little bit more. But I was saying that a lot of the fun part is searching and trying to figure stuff out. That's what I like. You know, I like to figure it out. But I have to balance that. I don't want you all to be bored. Uh-oh, what happened? I was about to click on one. I wanted to read it. Yeah, I think I'm coming to it. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so here's our north celestial pole. Here's the celestial equator. All right, so let's see. The bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. So here's our bottom line, right? This is the bottom. Let's show the number 1. Let's show number 1. So here's the bottom line, right? That's what he's talking about. This bottom line is the celestial equator. Everybody see that? Everybody see it? This line right here, where the cursor is, that's the celestial equator. That's what he's saying. All right? All right. So let's go back. Again, this line right here where you watch the cursor, that's the celestial equator. So now let's go back and try to match this up. All right. So here's the bottom line. And this, let's see, let's continue. And the top of the line, the Tropic of Cancer. So the top of this line somewhere would be the Tropic of Cancer, right? Top, and here's the number 1 itself. So here's the bottom line, right? This is the perpendicular, the straight up and down line that the author initially talked about. And then the top of the line would be the Tropic of Cancer. All right, so this is sufficient. That's sufficient to explain it. All right, so again, the bottom stroke represented the line of the equator. That's right here with the cursor. And on the number 1 right here. This line is the straight up and down pillar, the one, right, that he was talking about, okay? This line right here represents, I'll continue reading, the top of the line of the Tropic of Cancer. Y'all see that? And the top of the line of the Tropic of Cancer, the sun's highest point of ascension. So the highest point of ascension is what? That's the zenith, right? The highest point of ascension is the zenith. So let's show the zenith if we can. We show the sun at its zenith. We see, well, here it is. Everybody see that image right there where it says zenith? This is the highest point that the sun reaches in the celestial sky during the year. The highest point is the zenith. So now, this top line represents the zenith, the highest position that the sun gets to every year, which is in midsummer. All right? That's what the author is talking about. So now we've oriented ourselves astronomically with the number 1. And it was worth it. So now let's show this on a regular globe. Let's show the Tropic of Cancer just on a regular globe so we can be thorough. So here you see, scholars, this is the Tropic of Cancer running across or through rather South America, through the northern part of Africa. All right. And over here, I don't know what are they calling this the Middle East too? Yeah, this is the Middle East and running through Asia. All right. And what body of water? Pacific Ocean. All right. So now let's look at another one, another image. All right. So here's the Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer. Everybody see? It's running through, it's the dotted line here, running through South America, running through North Africa, the so-called Middle East, and Asia. This is the Tropic of Cancer. Below that is the equator, right? Below that is the equator, and then below the equator is the Tropic of Capricorn. So the Tropic of Cancer in the celestial globe, this occurs when the sun reaches its highest point in the celestial heavens. This is the zenith. So the Tropic of Cancer equals the zenith. All right, let's go back to our PDF. We're oriented. That was fun for me. That was fun. We figured it out. All right. Now let's continue. And when does that happen? Again, let's go back and read it. We're here. Oops, there we are. Let's go back and begin reading. It says here, while the whole pillar was a natural almanac, the whole pillar means the number 1, right? It's straight up and down like a pillar. While the whole pillar was a natural almanac of the sun's latitude. In other words, the number 1 represented an almanac of the sun's height in the sky, or the sun's latitude, the sun's zenith, is also called north declination for every day from spring quarter to midsummer day. All right, now we fully understand that. Next paragraph. Here we are. It was a great improvement when the straight stroke was set aslant, because then it not only represented the sun's declination, but it represented the line of the ecliptic, that is, of the sun's apparent path at the precise angle which that path forms on the line of the equator. Now, I showed you all the ecliptic before, so I'm not going to go back and do that. You can go through that on this video or any of the many videos we've already done to see the ecliptic, okay? Again, the ecliptic is the sun's orbit. Next paragraph. The Greeks improved this hieroglyph and having represented this path of the sun sun aslant, as it is in nature, they elongated the ornamental cornets at the top to the left, and the little pedestal perfectly parallel represented the upper one, the line of the Tropic of Cancer, the sun sun's highest point of ascension, that's the zenith. The lower one, the line of the equator, on which the whole figure stands, and which is perfectly parallel with the line of the Tropic of Cancer. All right, so we already went through that. Let me check the time. I don't know how long we've been going. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me check the comment section. Give me 1 moment, please. Make sure y'all like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Let me know. So let me read some of these comments. Most High Servant writes, greetings, I'm a member of Zion Law School. I'm having problems with my, well, why didn't, Most High Servant, why didn't you email me instead of putting it in the comment section? How am I supposed to know? My email is Dryasapa@Zion Law School. All right, let's see. Is there anything else? Give me 1 second. You know, if you had a problem, most people will just email you. Right? I don't think you have a problem because I don't even recognize that you placed an order. As a matter of fact, since you put this publicly, when did you place your order, Most High Servant? What date did you place your order? Because I haven't seen an order from you. So I'm thinking you are a prank, a troll. All right. Y'all see what the trolls do? Trying to hate. 27th of April. You know what? I'm gonna check it right now. What did you order? What did you order? Put it in the chat. I'm gonna check it right now. What did you order? I'm gonna check it right now. No. You put that in the comment section. Write what you ordered right now, and I'm gonna check it right now. All right. And you ordered it in what name? What name did you order it in? Did you buy, where did you buy it? Did you buy it on Amazon or did you buy it on Zion Law School? And what country are you in? Most High Servant, what country are you in? What name did you make your purchase in and what country are you in? What name did you make your purchase? What name did you use when you bought it and what country are you in? Okay, so Mike, you know what? You called me and you canceled the order and I canceled it for you. So why are you coming on here trolling? You called me a million times and I canceled the order because you asked me to cancel it. You told me you ordered by mistake. Now, why are you coming on here trolling? You're lying. As a matter of fact, you are a liar. The order was placed. You called me, told me you ordered it by mistake and you wanted me to cancel it, and I canceled it. You're a liar and you're a troll. Why don't you go someplace else? As a matter of fact, I spoke to you when I was in Mexico. Y'all see how these trollers are? You see that? And this guy has been calling my phone the last several days. Yeah, all right. You asked for a refund, right? You are a sick person. Anyway, y'all, I canceled your order, so you got your money back, right? Now you asked for a refund. Why are you here talking about you had a problem with your order and you just admitted that you asked for a refund? Now, how is that you're having a problem with your order? Because you canceled your order. What a liar. All right, y'all, let's continue with our presentation. All right, let's continue with our presentation. All right. We are on page 282. Page 282. I lost my spot, y'all. Oh, here we are, the Greeks, we're on the Greeks. So let's go back, let me pull the document up. Y'all see how people hate? Y'all see that? See how people hate? And the bad thing about it is this dude has been asking me to do him a favor. And I told him no. And now I guess he's figuring he's going to try to mess up Zion Law School so nobody won't make orders, right? What a loser. All right, y'all. So we are on page 282. 282. Let's continue. All right. So again, the Greeks improved this hieroglyph, and having represented this path of the sun's slant as it is in nature, they elongated the ornamental cornice at the top to the left and the little pedestal at the bottom to the right, thus Z. So that these lines being perfectly parallel represented the upper one, the line of the Tropic of Cancer, the sun's highest point of ascension, the lower one, the line of the equator on which the whole figure stands, and which is perfectly parallel with the line of the Tropic of Cancer. So this is what he's saying. Y'all see the Z? Well, let's go back to the web and I'll pull up a letter Z, okay? And then it'll be more easy to show this. Y'all might understand, y'all might see it already. Oh, you know what? Sorry about that. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. But let's do it again. All right, let's look at the letter Z. All right. And I'll explain what's happening, what the author is saying. All right. Let's look at this one. So, okay. All right. All right. I don't like that one. Let's go down. We need a better image. I don't like the way that opened up. All right, let's just look at this one. This is better. All right. I wonder why it's okay. Well, all right. So y'all see this? This top line. The top line represents the Tropic of Cancer. This top line right here represents the Tropic of Cancer. This bottom line right here represents the Tropic of Capricorn, all right? And this slanted line right here, this is representing the ecliptic. This is the ecliptic, okay? Now, I don't know how he jumped from, I'm not following how he jumped from that, but that's what he's talking about. All right. So let me close this out. Let me go back. Give me 1 second. Let me close this out. Where are we? Give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. I'm pulling up the document, okay? Give me a minute here. All right, so here we are. All right, so here we are. Pull the document back up, the PDF. By the way, if you don't have the PDF, you can download the PDF. There's a link in the description area of this video. All right, so now let's continue. Let's continue. We'll begin reading at the highlight. Everybody see that? So that these lines being perfectly parallel represented the upper one, the line of the Tropic of Cancer, the sun's highest point of ascension, that's the zenith, the lower one, the line of the equator on which the whole figure stands and which is perfectly parallel with the Tropic of Cancer. So wait a minute, I explained that wrong. That lower one was not the Tropic of Cancer. That lower one was, or is rather, this right here is the equator. All right, so this is the Tropic of, Tropic of Cancer. This is the ecliptic, where you see the cursor. This is the ecliptic, and this is the equator. All right, so let me just bring clarity to this. And let's show again the tropics. All right, let's show the tropics again. All right, give me 1 second. Let me get a good image. Here we go. All right, so Tropic of Cancer, follow the cursor. This is the Tropic of Cancer, and this is the equator. So if you draw a line, a diagonal line through here, that's the Z. So I think where the author is going is that the Z originally, well, initially Z was a 1. I think that's where he's going. But remember, this diagonal line, that's the ecliptic, right? So let me show that so everybody can be clear, since it took me a minute to figure that out. Celestial ecliptic. All right. So let's see. Here we are. Right? So you'll be able to see that the celestial ecliptic is a diagonal line. Why isn't it showing? All right, so for whatever reason, it didn't want to open up. Let's see if this one will open. All right, y'all see this red line? That's the ecliptic, okay? That's the ecliptic. So let's go back to the letter Z. So now you see here, look at the cursor. This is the Tropic of Cancer. This is the ecliptic. This is the ecliptic, and this is the celestial equator. All right, back to the PDF. All right, so next paragraph. Next paragraph read, but alas, in this modification, science was outrunning orthodoxy. The figure was no longer an I, or number 1, but a Z. Z is Z, y'all. Overseas, they say Z for Z. Okay, let me read it again. But alas, in this modification, science was outrunning orthodoxy. Why are they saying science? Because dealing with astronomy is science. Tropic of Capricorn, celestial orbit, the eclipse, and then the equator, he's referring to that as science. So science changed to the letter Z, all right? It represented it, it changed from the letter 1 Let me highlight it for y'all. Y'all see that? I don't know if that's a 1 or an I. It's changed from an I to a Z. Y'all see that? All right. Let's continue. It no longer expresses the simple and abstract idea of unity or oneness, but there are 3 strokes for your one. So change from 1 stroke, which was straight up and down, right? It changed to 3 strokes. Okay, so let's show the 3 strokes. I know everybody probably knows this, but this is 1, 2, 3 strokes. All right. All right. So let's go back to the PDF. Let me check the comment section. All right. Okay, so is that clear for everybody? If you have any question about that, put it in the chat. I'll give it a few seconds, okay? If you haven't liked the video already, please like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. It really, really helps if you subscribe, and also if you like and share. Also, if you comment. All right, so let's continue. We are on, let me go back to it. We are here. Begin at the highlight. Your patience, bunglers, look again, and you will see that these 3 are one, and each of them is separately and distinctively a perfect one. And you have a Trinity in unity of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost in one undivided and indivisible Godhead. So let's go back to the letter Z, and we can show it. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? There are 3 separate strokes, but they are what? One. The Father and the Son are 3 separate deities, but they are what? They are in unity. They are in unity, as the Christians say, and the Christian Hebrew Israelites, as they say. They're separate people, but unified in thought, unified in purpose. This letter Z is made of 3 separate strokes, not lines, 3 strokes, 1, 2, 3. So 3 strokes, but what? Unified in one line. 3 deities, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, 3 separate deities unified in one Godhead. All right, let's continue. All right, let's continue. So here we are. Of which this sloping line, the sun's path, the line of the ecliptic, is capital G-O-D, the Father. So we need to go back to the letter Z. So the author is writing the sloping line. The sloping line, that's this line. So this is the Father. Okay, of which this sloping line, the sun's path, the line of the ecliptic, is capital G-O-D, the Father. So this is capital G-O-D, the Father. This, the upper one, the line of the Tropic of Cancer, this line right here, Tropic of Cancer, this is the Holy Ghost, y'all. So the top line, where the cursor is, that's the Holy Ghost. This sloping line is the Father, and that means that this bottom line, the equator, is what? JC, the Christ figure, right? This, the upper one, is here, the upper one, the line of the Tropic of Cancer, is capital G-O-D, the Holy Ghost, sitting as where should he else on the head of the capital G-O-D, the Father, as his inspiring wisdom and science. Now, of course, there's a lot of Hebrew Israelites who will say that the Holy Ghost is a woman, right? Doesn't make a difference. But in this case, the woman would be sitting at the head. But this is only a letter Z, right? But anyway, let's continue. This, the one standing in the line of the equator that's here, this, the one standing in the line of the equator, is capital G-O-D, the sun, S-O-N, S-O-N, the capital L-O-R-D, our righteousness, okay? Who, as you see, leaving the glory, that is, the brightness which he had with the Father when he floated in the line of the equator. All right, so we know what that's talking about, right? Let's go back and show it. So here's the equator, 0 degrees north or south. All right, so this is the sun. The sun reaches the middle of the sky twice a year at the equator. All right, this is what the author is referring to. Okay, so now let me see, where are we? Okay, so this, the one standing in the line of the equator, is called capital G-O-D, the S-O-N, sun, the L-O-R-D of our right, the L-O-R-D, our righteousness, who, as you see, leaving the glory. Remember, glory is brightness, shine, right? Leaving the glory, that is the brightness which he had with the Father. Remember the Father. Where's the Father? Where's our letter Z, y'all? Let's go back to our letter Z. Where's our letter Z? Oh, here. So remember, this is the Father. The Father is the ecliptic. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? The ecliptic being the Father, because that's the orbit of the sun. The sun will go through all positions on the ecliptic. All right? It's always on the ecliptic, whereas it's only at the Tropic of Cancer once a year, right? It's only at the Tropic of Capricorn once a year, but it's always, all year round, is somewhere on the ecliptic. So that makes good sense. All right, so let's continue. Go back to our PDF. All right, so again, the line of, okay, where are we? Okay, so here we are. We are here. Let's start there, okay? Oh, no, we read that already. All right, so we'll start here, just at the top of the bottom. We'll start at the top of the bottom paragraph where the highlight is. This, the one standing in the line of the equator, is the capital G-O-D, the S-O-N, sun, okay? The capital L-O-R-D, our righteousness, who, as you see, leaving the glory, that is brightness and glory are the same thing, which he had with the Father when he floated into the line of the equator, like a swan upon a fish pond, quote, did for us men and for our salvation come down from heaven, end quote, as the S-U-N, sun, dropping below the equator from the point of the autumn equinox, has every year to make the round of the gloomy months of October, November, December, and January. So let's go show it. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at it. See if we can, give me 1 second, y'all. Let me get this together. We go back to our celestial globe, and I'm going to show you what the author is talking about. All right. So we need to go back to the celestial globe. And here we are. So let me find autumn equinox. Let's find that. And then we should be in business. We are in business once we find that. I just want to show you. I just want to show you. We need the celestial globe. All right. So let me do it a different way. Let's see. Oh man, what's going on? All right. Okay, I thought we just had our celestial globe. Let's try celestial map, okay, y'all? Celestial map. We just had these, we were just looking at them. Hold on, y'all. No, that's not what I want. Celestial globe. Let's see what we get here. All right. Okay, here we are, y'all. These are what I wanted. So now let's see if I can find what I want to show you. So I'm looking for the autumn equinox, right? Because that's what we're dealing with. The autumn equinox. All right, give me 1 second. All we need to do is find it. This is a pretty simple one. Nothing complex about it. All right. So let's see. Okay. Okay, so here we go, y'all. I gotta find my place. Okay, so we're reading on page 282, the last paragraph. It reads, quote, did for us men and for our salvation come down from heaven, end quote, as the sun sun dropping below the equator from the point of the autumn equinox. All right, so here's the autumn equinox. Let's see, I'll pull it up a little bit. So here's the autumn equinox, everybody see that? And here's the equator, okay? So the sun, oh, y'all see the red dot? Remember the crucifixion, the red dot? So the sun is gonna drop below the line of the equator. The sun will drop below. So let me, there you go. Y'all see? Y'all see this is the celestial equator. Oops, you see it? So the sun will drop below this line. All right, that's what the author is referring to. All right. Okay, so the sun dropping below the celestial equator from the point of the autumn equinox has every year to make the round of the gloomy months of October, November, December, and January. So those are the winter months, right? Beginning and ending of winter. Okay, these are, in other words, the worst. October is the beginning of winter, right? November is getting cold. December, that's like the deep part of winter. That's when it gets the coldest. January is cold, right? And then you're coming into February, we're coming out of winter. March is spring. So the sun is falling below the celestial equator, okay? In October, November, December, January, right? All right, so that's all it's saying. All right, so those of you who are interested in learning our language, I want to invite you to order 911 Ancient Ibaryath. Order 911 Ancient Ibaryath. All right, 911 Ancient Ibaryath. You can order the international edition. Order the international edition on Amazon.com. All of our other books, order them on zionlawschool.org, zionlawschool.org. All right. And also don't forget to subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath. This is going to help you learn our language. This is going to help you learn our language. You're going to learn a lot. Okay. If you think the author has been doing a lot of heavy duty lifting, wait until you learn this language. Also be sure to come Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come for free, 2 classes, learn and see, present, participate. We're going to teach you how to use everything that you're learning in 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. All right. I'm Dr. Dryasapa from Zion Law School. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Jerice Shalawama, just getting home. Hello, Dr. Dryasapa and scholars. I'm sorry, Jerice, I have to end. The people in the lobby, in the hotel lobby here, basically they told me I'm making too much noise. It's late at night and I need to stop. So it's 2:20 a.m., 2:20 in the morning here. So I understand. I understand them. So y'all, thanks for spending your time with me. Be sure to like and share the video and talk to your friends about these astrotheology presentations. Talk to them more importantly about learning Ancient Ibaryath. And if y'all can support the work that I'm doing, all right? If you have the money to do it and your heart's desire is in it to do it, support the work that I'm doing. By the way, I have a new Cash App. It's $sign Dr. Dryasapa, $sign Dr. Dryasapa. So if you like the work that I'm doing, if you like the astrotheology presentations, and if you want to support me and my mission, you can Cash App me. Help me pay for a lot of this stuff. Help me to buy the equipment that I need. And then also, your donations will help me get all of the equipment that I need to get in order to make these video presentations more professional. Like, for example, an intro and an outro, right? Intro and outro, proper equipment, so on and so forth, all right? That's needed. That's just to do a live stream video. You need cameras and a mic, and you need, you know, all of these things. But anyway, you have the ability to do it if you want to. My Cash App again is $sign Dr. Dryasapa, $sign Dryasapa. Okay, y'all. Thanks for showing up. And I will see you all tomorrow. And I can't really say what time tomorrow, because when I was going on at 9, it's so loud. Someone told me that the presentations had too much noise in the background, but I'll do the best I can, y'all. I'll do the best I can. Roderick's point of view, oh wow. Oh wow, what? What's going on? Oh wow, what? Oh wow, what? So yeah, it's in my time is 2:23 in the morning. 2:23 in the morning. But either way, I will be back. I will be back to tomorrow. And we're gonna start on page 283, y'all. 283. And as a reminder, if you haven't downloaded the Devil's Pulpit, make sure you download it. Take some time and go print it so that when we go look at those illustrations, you'll be able to follow along. All right. So thanks again for joining us. I'm Dr. Dryasapa with Zion Law School. I'll see you all tomorrow. Shalom and